After the recent success of Earthbound, released on the Super Nintendo in 1994, Mother 3 was announced by Shigesato Itoi and Nintendo to be in development. In 1999, it was moved to the Nintendo 64 rather than being on the 64 DD, which was a CD drive Nintendo-based system. But sadly, in August 2000, Mother 3 was cancelled, so all the Earthbound fans were left disappointed. But there was a ray of hope, because in January 2006, after so many rumours and speculation, Mother 3 was announced for the April 20th, 2006. It was released in Japan on April 20th, but sadly there was no US or European release. But again, there was another ray of hope. On October 17th, 2008, a fan translation of the game was released, meaning everyone in the Europe and UK and the US could play the game in their own language. There are spoiler alerts, so I don't want you guys moaning when I tell you this. The game starts with the mother Hinawa, the grandfather Alec, and two sons Lucas and Klaus. They need to get home to their father, back in Asalieri village, after spending a few days with their grandfather Alec. But on their way home, the forest is set on fire by some unknown group of pig masks, and causes the family to be lost in the forest. The pig masks are a weird sort, as they, of course, are wearing pig masks, and they seem to be conducting weird and interesting experiments on the animals, making them half animal and half machine. As soon as he hears about the fire, he knows what he must do. He decides to go out and look for them. He soon finds Lucas, but no Klaus or Hinawa. But when he does find something of Hinawa, he finds that she has been killed. Meanwhile, while this has all been going on, Duster and Wes, two thieves, go to steal the precious egg from the Oso castle, and manage to stumble upon the princess, Kumatora, who joins them on their search. Whilst in a sewer mishap, Kumatora and Wes are washed up on the shore with Duster nowhere to be seen, assuming that he must have died or simply disappeared. Again, while this is happening, Salsa the monkey and his girlfriend Samba are kidnapped and forced to do the bidding of Facade, of its own words. Facade is one of the big chains in command of these pig masks, and he brings these so-called happy boxes to Asalieri village, and basically brainwashes the entire town to buy these happy boxes. We then cut to 3 years later. Asalieri is a completely different place where the currency is more of a priority. We play as Lucas, as we're asked by Wes to look for Duster, as there might be a lead to where he might work at a place called Club Titiboo, a music club, and he may be one of the band members. Whilst at Club Titiboo, he finds Duster there with amnesia and Kumatora undercover as a waitress, and like earlier in the chapter, they tried to find the egg that was lost before. They get the egg to destroy the lightning generator that has been destroying countless houses for people who have not been conforming to the pig mask way. When Lucas finally awakes from the lightning generator incident, he finds a Magypsy called Ionia. Ionia tells Lucas about a dragon that has been hiding underneath the island for numbers of years, and the only way to keep it sealed is to pull 7 needles located around the island, which the pig masks have been trying to unleash upon the world. So now Lucas's proper quest now is to destroy all the 7 needles and stop the pig masks from taking over the world. Okay, now that we've got all that out of the way, let's move on to actually reviewing the game. Let's start with gameplay. It is a turn-based strategy game where you carefully choose tactics to beat your opponent. For example, there is Bash, which is simply hitting the enemy, an items menu where you can use an array of items to hurt the enemy, or heal yourself, or simply defend yourself. There is a PSI menu, which is basically magic menu, where you can heal yourself, attack someone, or defend yourself. There is a runaway option, where you can simply run away from the battle. There is a brute force option, which allows for a stronger hit, but can also make you miss more. And there is also a guard option, simply for defense. And of course there is a health bar to indicate how much health you have, and there's also a PP bar, which is a PSI points bar, to indicate how much points you have to use your PSI powers. But one of the unique things about Bash is that you can do multiple damage by hitting the A button in time with the beat of the music. Therefore, the more times you hit the beat in the music, the more damage you can do to the enemy. and in typical Earthbound fashion, you are able to attack the enemy from behind and hopefully take them out quickly. But remember, enemies can also do the same to you, so watch your back. A new element called Dash has been introduced, which allows the player to go even faster than in previous Earthbound games, or Mother games as you like to call it. One thing that has been carried on from the other Mother games is the present system. Now when I mean present system, I mean the ability to get items out of presents laid out across the world. Items range from food to liquid to defensive items and even offensive items to help you out when you're fighting. Now if there's anything Mother 3 is good at, it's humour. There is loads of humour packed out through the game, and I guarantee you'll be chuckling at some of these moments, and even most likely remembering some of these moments when you finish the game. Now I can't really comment on the controls because the fan translation was released on an emulator. Now with an emulator you can actually choose how the controls are mapped. It just depends on the actual person, I believe, so whether you're using a keyboard or a gamepad. Now let's move on to one of my favourite parts of the game, the music. My god, this music is good. I mean, there's some really memorable and actually sets the mood pretty well. If I had to choose which one was the best, in my opinion, it would be Fire 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 and Love Theme. With Fire Fire Fire, it gets me in the mood to just kick some animal ass. With the Love Theme, it is one of the most touching pieces of music I've ever heard in a game in ages, and beautifully represents the feelings that Lucas is feeling for his mother's death. Now for the graphics. Having not played a GBA game before in my life, this was actually a good way to show GBA's capabilities to me, because it looks amazing for what it can do. And especially when this game doesn't need to be in 3D style like with the games that are out like in this year and last year and in the past decade even. This one was fine in the 2D style it was. It didn't need to be in a 3D style. Now I've come to the negatives of this game. I wasn't looking forward to this. To me, the story is a little overcomplicated. But only a little, honestly. I think the monkey was a bit unneeded. Not to say I didn't like the character, I felt sorry for the guy. And it's just bad. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad character, I just feel he should have been left out. How'd you like those apples, Salsa? Other than that, the game to me is a really good game. The story, though a bit complicated, is engaging. The gameplay is a lot of fun. It's pretty to look at, and the music is awesome. All I can say is that this is a must-play game for any fan of an RPG. I'm James, and this is my review of Mother 3.